So I'm going to start this one off with some background info and a quick recap, in case you're new to my channel, and then I'll dive on in. I'm doing a progressive overload cycle based around heavy sandbag carries. I'm running this for 8 weeks and increasing weight every 2 weeks. This will be done with all weight I've lifted before, but never really focused on carrying. So I want to find out for myself what carrying a heavy sandbag will do in the ways of building muscle, strength, skill, and the mind. Similar to the famous ancient Greek wrestler Milo of Croton. I'm sharing my journey, techniques, and approach with you, so if you ever decide you want to pursue something like this, you have an idea of what to expect, a guide, and a strategy to implement into your own training. In reality, the best training is something that's repeatable, enjoyable to you, and dialed into your specific needs, regardless of the modality. So let's get the sandbag off the ground in position and get to stepping. So I started this cycle out at a weight of 228 pounds in the sandbag. That was a weight I could handle pretty well for higher volumes of 10 sets with both bear hug and shoulder carries. With the bag being slightly partially filled, it's much easier to hold and the weight is generally closer, which makes it easier to handle. Now that I've added 23 pounds to it, it's solid, it's more awkward to handle, and the weight is farther away and harder to control. That's the real kicker of increasing weight in a sandbag. As the bag gets bigger, it always changes the way you handle it, forcing adaptation and creating a new challenge in and of itself. The main differences I've noticed are the demand for more core engagement and getting the bag off the ground, and more of a fight to the shoulder from the lat. I've noticed having a solid bag on the shoulder to me is much more comfortable than a slightly floppy bag, because the solid holds its shape and I'm not having to strain as much with my arm and shoulder to keep the weight in position. Going from slightly partially filled to solid with bear hug carries presents a major difference, and that's a farther reach around the bag, with more demand from the core and the lats. Locking your hands together in the hold will really test the grip and engage the lats the best from what I've found. When the bag is solid, it doesn't form to your body, which makes a bear hug carry that much harder and awkward. So this volume approach, as I explained in previous videos, of setting a running clock of 40 minutes and trying to get in as many sets as possible, seems to be working pretty well. When I start that clock, I don't stop until time is ran out, but that doesn't mean I go super fast the whole time. It's not a race. I keep a steady pace and always keep band work and forearm work in between the sets of sandbag and kettlebell carries. If I still have time left and I'm done with the sandbag work, I'm at the point where I'm spent, I continue pushing volume and distance with the kettlebell carries and accessory work until time runs out. Most importantly, if the volume is sustainable and repeatable and leaves almost nothing on the table every session, being that you're recovering fully every week and staying healthy, there shouldn't really be any reason that the goal you've set won't be accomplished from a physical standpoint. The biggest thing I've learned in pursuing certain things with a heavy sandbag is to be minimal with the moves. Getting heavy with a sandbag is very demanding on the entire body. That's why I have 2 sandbag moves in each session. With shoulder carries, it's ground to chest to build power off the ground, and then with bear hug carries, it's bear hug box squats, which I'd say builds the entire body with both strength and endurance. In this cycle, I'm not taking those to a level of monster sets like the stone circle. I'm going to save that for another pursuit in the future. The purpose of those second sandbag moves in the sessions are setting the table for the next cycle where the sandbag gets super heavy, taxing, and shocks the body every lift. Power off the ground, strength, combined with endurance are required to execute the cycle effectively. And that's what I try to do by picking and dial in certain moves that I feel are going to carry over into the next cycle. Everyone knows that carrying weight can be uncomfortable overall. And the best thing about the capability of humans throughout history is to make things that are difficult easier. Everyone operates differently based on what works for them and why they do the things the way they do. But something I'm testing with this, as the weight gets bulkier and heavier, is my mental resolve to get this done in what would probably be considered less than optimal and adverse state from a strength training standpoint. The shoulder carry session was done 12 hours fasted in hot and humid weather, and the bear hug carry session was done 16 hours fasted in the same conditions. And that's the other benefit of doing this. Seeing how hard I can push, being in a less than optimal state of being fueled and sometimes sleep. I live on 4 to 6 hours of sleep normally. I feel like for most people with many other meaningful responsibilities and with added mental stress outside of training, they're in the same boat. On the mental side of it, there's an element of building the ability to perform and function in less than ideal circumstances. There's overall mental and physical resilience to be built on top of what specific muscle gains are being pursued. 228 pounds was easy and created a lot of confidence. Now it's about to become humbling and a real turning point with 250 pounds and up. It's going to be a test to see if I can persevere through it. I know it's going to knock me down, probably more than a few times, but I'm going to get back up and figure it out every time. And that's really all there is to it. So that's a little dive into my mindset of approaching this. It's undeniably tough and requires embracing the suck. As for the physical training aspects of it, it's about maintaining a steady pace the entire duration to get as much work in as possible every time. That pretty much covers how this sandbag weight increase is a turning point in this cycle with 2 more to come. If you're still watching at this point, I appreciate you being here. If you have anything to add, any questions, leave it in the comments. Until next time, keep putting in the work.